They say Leclerc beat Hamilton in a secret tire test, behind closed doors, on experimental rubber, no TV cameras, no lap time sheets, just whispers. And yet, that was all some people needed. All it took was one rumor, one headline, and suddenly, it was Leclerc humbles Hamilton. The king is done. Time to pass the torch. Really? So let me get this straight. A private Pirelli test designed to gather data, not crown champions, is now your measuring stick for the greatest driver of this generation. That's like saying Michael Jordan lost his legacy, ... Because of a bad preseason game. That's like writing off Serena Williams, because she had a slow start on a practice court in Cincinnati. This isn't just short-sighted, it's disrespectful. You think Lewis Hamilton's career can be defined by a tire test? Then you haven't been watching, you haven't been listening, you've just been waiting for him to fall. Because that's what people do with greatness. They get tired of it. They root against it, and when it stumbles, even slightly, they pounce. But here's the thing, Lewis doesn't stumble. He reloads, he remembers. This isn't about one day in Barcelona. This is about every year. They said he was finished. 2008, 2011, 2016, 2021, and every time, he came back. So no, this isn't the story of Leclerc beating Hamilton. This is the calm before the storm, and the storm still wears number 44. Asterisk, but here's the question no one's asking, ... What actually happened behind the scenes at that secret Pirelli test? Because while the headlines ran wild, Leclerc faster than Hamilton, Ferrari dominates private session. What they didn't show was the context. They didn't show the tire compounds changing every stint. They didn't show the fuel loads, the engine modes, the run plans. They didn't show that Lewis Hamilton wasn't even trying to go fastest. He was testing. He was learning. He was building something that doesn't show up on a stopwatch. Because Hamilton wasn't there to win the test. He was there to break the code, to understand the data, to feel how the car breathes under pressure, to whisper back to the engineers, here, this is where we strike. And while Charles Leclerc was chasing purple sectors and headlines, Hamilton was playing a different game entirely. A longer game, a colder game, the kind only champions have the patience for. And when you step back and look at the full picture, you start to realize, this wasn't about Pirelli. This was about Mercedes versus Red Bull, about Hamilton versus history, and about the quiet war being fought in the shadows where the real titles are born. Asterisk, let's get one thing straight. This wasn't a test session. This was a message. While the cameras were off and the garages locked, the paddock was still talking. Because even in silence, Lewis Hamilton makes noise. And here's what really happened. Ferrari showed up to impress. Low fuel, new fist eyes on the stopwatch. They wanted data, but they also wanted headlines. Leclerc, fastest in secret Pirelli test. It sounds good. It plays well on Twitter. It feeds the illusion that Ferrari is back. But Hamilton came with no upgrades, no showboating, no PR stunts, just a blacked-out helmet, a heavy car, and a list of questions to answer. He wasn't chasing purple sectors. He was testing tire degradation across full stints. He was checking corner exit balance under simulated race loads. He was running data for the next battle, not this one, because while Ferrari was sprinting, Hamilton was preparing for war. And let's talk about the silence. No interviews, no radio complaints. Not even a comment from Bono. Just quiet focus, the kind that makes engineers nervous, and rivals more so. Meanwhile, George Russell, quick over one lap, sure, but every time the pressure mounts he blinks. He pushes too hard, locks up radio full of noise. It's not fair, it's not working. Why am I losing time? Hamilton doesn't panic. He never has, because he's been here before. Dragged down by bad cars, bad luck, bad calls, and still, he rose. This isn't about whether he beat Leclerc in a test. This is about how he prepares, and why the rest of the grid should still be afraid. Because you don't measure greatness by lap times on a Tuesday. You measure it by what a man does when no one's watching, and he still refuses to coast. Asterisk, let's be honest, if Max Verstappen had to drive this Mercedes, he'd retire halfway through FP2 and call it energy management. And if Charles Leclerc had to spend 2 seasons in Hamilton's shoes, dragging a midfield car to podiums with duct tape and willpower, Ferrari would have hired a sports psychologist before the summer break. But here's Lewis. Still showing up, still putting in laps no one expected, still taking a car that barely belongs in Q3 and turning it into a Sunday problem for Red Bull. That's not luck, that's legacy. You know what they say about quarterbacks. Anyone can throw a touchdown with a clean pocket, but when the blitz is coming, that's when you find out who's real. Russell has pace. No one's denying that, but pace isn't pressure dash proof. And when the lights go out when it matters, most Hamilton delivers. No drama, no excuses. Just execution. They say he's past his prime. I've seen LeBron drop 40 at 38. Brady win rings when everyone said he was done. Legends don't fade, they wait. And then they strike. So yeah, maybe Leclerc was quicker in the test. But here's the truth. You don't beat Hamilton in the shadows. If you want to take the crown, you better do it on Sunday, in the spotlight, with the whole world watching. And that is a different fight entirely. Asterisk, maybe you saw the lap times. Maybe you read the headlines. And maybe for a second you believed it. That Lewis Hamilton is done. That the throne has been claimed. That greatness has an expiration date. That's a seductive story, isn't it? The hero fades. The new stars rise. The sport moves on. But here's the thing about that story. It's lazy. It's comfortable. And it's wrong. Because if you really know racing, if you followed this man's journey from day one, you know better. You know this isn't a decline. It's a deep breath before the next sprint. It's the stillness before the next storm. It's the look in his eyes when everyone counts him out and he chooses to listen. Not to the critics, but to something greater. This isn't just about tires. This isn't about a few tenths on a test track. This is about a man chasing immortality. And immortality, it doesn't show up in a press release. It doesn't scream for attention. It works in silence. It moves with purpose. Hamilton isn't racing Leclerc. He's not worried about Russell. He's not obsessed with Max. He's locked in on one thing, becoming the greatest to ever do it, not just on paper, but in the hearts of those who know what they're watching. When you look at his career, you realize something. He's never had it easy. He's had to fight for every contract, every car, every ounce of respect. They questioned his focus. They questioned his lifestyle. They questioned his passion. And every single time he answered. Not with talk, with performance. Go back to his rookie year, taking it to the reigning double world champion in equal machinery, outscoring Alonso in his first season, or 2018, when Vettel and Ferrari had the better car. Everyone said Hamilton was vulnerable. He responded with one of the greatest second halves to a season in F1 history. Or 2021, Abu Dhabi, robbed, in broad daylight, and still, not a single meltdown, not a tantrum, just silence. The kind of silence that echoes longer than any scream. So now, in 2024, they look at test sessions and lap times. They pretend this is about seconds and setups. But the real ones, no. This is about legacy, about timing, about writing the kind of ending that becomes legend. And legends, they don't fade. They wait, they study, and when the time is right, they strike. So here's the question, and I ask it to you directly. Are we witnessing the twilight of Lewis Hamilton, or the calm before one final devastating act? Because when he puts on red in 2025, when he walks into Maranello with 7 titles and unfinished business, he's not coming to join the party. He's coming to end it. He's coming for the one thing they've tried to deny him. Again and again. Closure, respect, the undisputed GOAT status. Not because he needs it, but because he's earned it. So now, it's your turn. What do you think? Is the comeback real? Is Red Bull slipping? Is Ferrari ready? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Tell us, are you still riding with number 44? Or are you switching sides? And if you still believe in greatness, if you still believe that quiet storms can bring the loudest thunder, hit that subscribe button. Because the story isn't over. In fact, it's just getting to the part where history is made, and trust Miro going to want to be here when it happens. Asterisk, 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 asterisk.